the southeastern quadrant of the state of Colorado. The visiting vehicle officer here in Mission Control reports that the next pair of demonstration tests, the LiDAR sensor demonstration and the hold and retreat demonstration, will be conducted here shortly. Again, that data is valuable to ensure that the HTV-X can retreat away from the station on crew command if required, in the event of a systems issue that would crop up in the terminal phase of this rendezvous. Each of these demonstrations expected to last about 5 minutes in duration. HTV-X1 and the International Space Station now crossing the border between Oklahoma and Texas. HTV-X1 just about to pass off the coast of Louisiana. Again, flying from northwest to southeast, an evaluation of LiDAR sensor data is underway. This is navigational data that updates the HTV-X's computers regarding its relative range away from the space station and its rate of closure once that resumes a short time from now. This view from external cameras on the International Space Station showing Hurricane Melissa. It is currently packing winds of 105 miles an hour as it moves north-northeast at a speed of 14 miles an hour, departing southeastern Cuba after wreaking havoc and devastation on the western portion of Jamaica yesterday with record winds of 185 miles an hour. Again, a view from an altitude of 260 miles as the space station flies just to the west of Hurricane Melissa. This is Mission Control Houston. Back to a view of the This is Mission Control Houston. Back to a view of the HTV-X1 holding at 250 meters about to continue on pending approval by Flight Director Fiona Antkowiak here in Mission Control. Flight Director Fiona Antkowiak here in Mission Control is completing her poll of her flight control team before informing the HTV-X Flight Director in Tsukuba, Japan. Next up will be the retreat performance demonstration, where the crew will be sending retreat commands from its post in the cupola. This occurring prior to HTV-X entering the keep-out sphere. Once again, the HTV-X cargo craft, the brand new cargo craft from the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, still holding steady at 250 meters, about to be given approval to conduct a retreat demonstration, essentially a test of an approach abort capability should that become necessary. One of several hold points and demonstration points, as the HTV-X resides at the moment directly below the International Space Station.
Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. SIPC and MCC Houston are ready for the HTV-X approach from 250 meters. Expect approach to resume shortly and stand by for the retreat demo.
Copy. Expecting the approach to resume shortly, and we will also expect the retreat demo.
Good copy.
Aki Hoshide, the spacecraft communicator, informing Zena Cardman aboard the station that all of the flight control teams are go for the resumption of approach to the station from 250 meters and for the retreat demonstration in which Cardman will be sending commands to HTV-X to essentially stop and back away and then resume approach, testing its capability to perform that function should it become necessary. HTV-X at the International Space Station, flying 260 miles over northwestern Brazil. Moving from northwest to southeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. Cardman is joined in the cupola by JAXA astronaut Kimiya Yui, who will be at the controls of the station's Canadarm2 robotic arm to reach out and grapple HTV-X once it arrives 10 meters away from that capture point. And HTV-X now back on the move, resuming its approach from 250 meters.
Station Houston 2 for HTV-X. HTV-X has resumed approach from 250 meters. Per step 3 in 1.102, you are go to arm the retreat command, then command retreat when HTV-X range is 225 meters. How copy?
Okay, copy. HTV-X has resumed the approach, and we are go in step 3 for the retreat command. We will issue that command when we are at prior range 225 meters.
That's a good copy.
Now standing by for the crew to issue the retreat command. The retreat command has been sent.
Houston station for HTV-X. Prior range is 241. We have issued retreat ready. Retreat arm is flashing. We will be ready at prior range 225 for the execute command.
Copy and concur.
HTV-X now in a planned retreat. This is a crew command from the cupola.
Houston station, retreat command has been executed. We see go to retreat point for the visiting vehicle submode and good lights on the HTV-X command panel.
Copy all.
Good response by HTV-X reported by Zena Cardman, confirmed by the flight controllers here in Houston.
Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. HTV-X is in retreat mode. Expect HTV-X to slow its approach, then retreat to 250 meters.
Copy. We see HTV-X in retreat mode, expecting its rate will slow and then it will retreat to 250 meters.
Good copy.
HTV-X performing as advertised. This is the final major near-field demonstration of the HTV's systems prior to its moving into the keep-out sphere to the next hold point at 30 meters away from the International Space Station. We are standing by for the completion of this retreat demonstration prior to HTV-X resuming its approach up the radial vector towards the station and an eventual grapple point just 10 meters away from the international outpost. HTV-X currently flying in formation with the International Space Station off the coast of South America, moving from northwest to southeast over the South Atlantic. The retreat demonstration based on crew command from the cupola has been completed and is met the pass-fail criteria. So the evaluation is continuing here in the flight control room as HTV-X is poised to resume its approach for its capture with the space station's robotic arm. We are standing by for the final approval from Flight Director Fiona Antkowiak to resume approach from 250 meters. This slow crawl up the radial vector is deliberate to test the HTV-X's systems prior to its arrival in close proximity to the station for its eventual grapple by Kimiya Yui of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency using the station's robotic arm.
Station Houston 2 for HTV-X. Confirm 250-meter hold per step 4 in 1.102.
Copy. Working step 4 to confirm 250-meter hold.
Good copy.
And with that call from Aki Hoshide to Zena Cardman, the retreat demonstration is now complete.
Confirm per step 4. Good 250-meter holds. All lights on the HTV-X command panel match, and visiting vehicle mode and submode and prior range are good to go.
Copy all, thanks.
So the retreat demonstration is complete, and HTV-X has passed all of its criteria for all of its near-field demonstrations at this point. We're expecting the resumption of approach to the station to commence shortly. This is Mission Control Houston, a good view of the HTV-X cargo craft, which is about to resume its approach to the station for its capture and berthing on a common berthing mechanism on the Earth-facing side of the Harmony module later today. HTV-X has been holding steady at 250 meters away from the station, just completing its retreat demonstration. We're at accepted commands from the crew on board, from Zena Cardman and Kimiya Yui in the cupola, to test its ability to back away from the station in the unlikely event a systems issue would crop up. Now back at 250 meters, we're just moments away from a final go from Flight Director Fiona Antkowiak to resume approach. This is the view from the end effector camera on the International Space Station's Canadarm2 robotic arm, showing the position of HTV-X relative to the station at a distance of 250 meters. HTV-X will resume its approach from the 250-meter mark momentarily.
Just wanted to give you a status. So with the Lidar 2 issue that we're having, we're going to perform some troubleshooting while at 250-meter hold. So that takes about 10 minutes or so. We'll give you a call when we're ready to resume.
Okay, copy all. We'll expect maybe 10 or so minutes of troubleshooting here at the 250-meter hold.
Good copy.
The troubleshooting referred to by Aki Hoshide in that communication to Zena Cardman aboard the station, referring to some erratic data that is being acquired from one of the two redundant LiDAR sensor systems that provides updated navigational data to the HTV-X's onboard computers. However, this is not expected to be an impediment to the resumption of the approach of HTV-X for its ultimate capture by the robotic arm. And again, this is a view from the end effector camera on the arm itself, the view that we'll be zooming in on as HTV-X is ready to be captured. The arm will be operated by JAXA astronaut Kimiya Yui. The clocks here in Mission Control currently being updated for the various milestones that are ahead. We're probably about 21 minutes away from departing the 250-meter mark and about an hour and 37 minutes away from its capture. The original capture time was pegged at 10:50 a.m. Central, 11:50 a.m. Eastern Time. However, there's nothing magic about that time. We have all the time in the world today, since the crew does not plan to open the hatch to HTV-X and begin to unload its cargo until tomorrow. This is Mission Control Houston, continuing to watch the HTV-X, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency's new cargo craft that is sitting rock steady about 250 meters away from the International Space Station. HTV-X and the station flying in formation just to the southeast of the southern tip of Africa, about to begin a southwest and northeasterly trajectory across the Indian Ocean. We are standing by for final approval to resume approach to the station from 250 meters, with the HTV having completed all of its near-field systems demonstration tests. Once the approach to the station resumes from 250 meters, the next arrival point will be at 30 meters for a final systems check before the HTV is given approval to move in within range of the grappling point or the capture point, where the station's robotic arm will reach out and capture the vehicle for its ultimate installation on the Earth-facing port of the Harmony module. The JAXA HTV flight director is wrapping up their analysis of one of the two redundant LiDAR navigation sensors. All of the data appears to be coming in line, and we should be getting approval shortly from Flight Director Fiona Antkowiak to resume approach from 250 meters. A good view of the thruster firings on the HTV-X as it holds position 250 meters away from the International Space Station at a point directly below the station. HTV-X has behaved very well, all of its systems functioning up to speed and based on pre-flight expectations. In the 3.5 days that it has traveled from the launch pad at the Tanegashima Space Center in southern Japan to this point, ready to resume its final approach from 250 meters to the next stoppage point some 30 meters away from the station.
Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. SIPC and Houston are ready for HTV-X approach inside the keep-out sphere. Expect approach to resume shortly.
Station copies. Great news. Expecting approach to resume shortly.
And there's the confirmation relayed to Zena Cardman from Aki Hoshide here in Mission Control. The HTV-X has checked out, everything is in good shape, and we're ready to resume its approach from 250 meters inside the so-called keep-out sphere, which in layman's terms would be the close neighborhood toward the International Space Station. This brand new cargo craft joining the supply chain of other cargo vehicles, providing supplies, food, and fuel for the expedition crew members on board the station. Soon to be joining other vehicles attached to the station. We mentioned this earlier, but it's worth noting that once HTV-X arrives at the station and is bolted into place later today, on the Earth-facing side of the Harmony module of the station, only one arrival port will be left open, that being the Rosviet module of the International Space Station. That's on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the station, otherwise known as MRM-1. That port will be occupied on Thanksgiving Day when Soyuz MS-28 arrives with 2 Russian cosmonauts and NASA's Chris Williams. At that point, every single port will be occupied at the International Space Station. And of course, the arrival of HTV-X coming just days before the 25th anniversary of a permanent human occupancy aboard the station that will be marked on Sunday, November 2nd.
Copy. Approach has resumed. We are starting step 5 of 1.102.
And HTV-X once again on the move, departing 250 meters. We're about 12 minutes behind the timeline, with the extra time needed at the 250 meter mark.
Step 5, we have good lights on the HTV-X command panel, and we will begin our Block Bravo calls.
Copy.
This will take some 30 minutes for HTV to traverse up the radial vector, again the imaginary line drawn between the space station and the Earth, essentially a point directly below the station, before it reaches the 30-meter hold point.
in the station for Block Bravo. Using monitor 3, the light is within the corridor. Vehicle size matches the outline, though it is hard to see again now that we are in darkness. The light is 1/2 vehicle length forward from the circle and 1/4 vehicle width starboard from the circle. The circle is 1/2 length aft from the center of the corridor. Monitor 1 matches monitor 3.
Copy, good report. Thanks. Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. HTV-X is inside the 200-meter keep-out sphere. Crew now has authority to issue an abort if no comm with Houston and light outside the corridor. How copy?
Station copies. We are monitoring our retreat and abort criteria per 1.102, and HTV-X is inside the 200-meter keep-out sphere.
Good copy.
To station for Black Bravo.
Go for Bravo.
Using monitor 3, the light is within the corridor. Vehicle size matches the outline. Only changes currently are the light is 1/4 vehicle length forward and 1/8 vehicle width starboard from the circle. The circle is 1/2 vehicle length aft and 1/4 vehicle width starboard and moving further starboard from the center of the corridor.
Copy, good trending.
Monitor 1 matches monitor 3.
Copy that.
Zena Cardman reporting back data that she's seeing on her monitors in the cupola. She's alongside Kimiya Yui of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency as the HTV-X moves up the so-called corridor, up the radial vector, now about 147 meters away from the station, closing at a rate of about 1/10 of a meter per second. This is essentially a methodical crawl for the HTV-X up the radial vector, as all of its systems are being carefully evaluated prior to the time that it arrives within very, very close proximity of the station. There will be another hold point at 30 meters to assess its systems before it resumes its approach from the 30-meter hold point to what is called the capture point, about 10 meters away, some 32 feet away from the station. That's the point that a final assessment of the systems will be made before the approval is given for Kimiya Yui in the cupola to begin extending the Canadarm2 robotic arm towards a grapple fixture on HTV-X.
Station Huntsville, Space to Ground 2 for Johnny and Payload NAS at your convenience.
Huntsville, Johnny 2, how can I help?
Hey, Johnny, we wanted to free you up to watch HTV-X capture, so we are ready for you to perform your Payload NAS hard drive reseat whenever you'd like. Additionally, we were able to cut out about 30 minutes from this procedure, so step 1.3.2 in that procedure has you getting a go from us to verify 30 minutes have passed. We have already verified all that we need from that, so you are go to skip that step and move through your procedure. Should only take you about 10 minutes.
Hey, I'm Copy. I reviewed the procedures, and we are on the same wavelength. I was just going to ask if I could get that hard drive cooling done early. I understand the big intent behind this. I'm going to reseat the hard drives, which shouldn't take too long. Any more information maybe on the background of what signature you all are seeing on your end? I've got a couple NESs at home, so I'm wondering if I would be able to help, depending on what kind of signature you're seeing.
Yeah, so we're trying to correct an issue with one of the hard drives experienced a degradation and a logical ejection. All these hard drives are going to be reseated as a preventative action in case a similar issue is present on the other hard drives that we haven't noticed yet.
Copy. Do you know which hard drive is the one that's showing an off-nominal signature?
Yeah, that's hard drive 3.
Copy number 3. Okay, so I will go ahead and reseat them all per the procedure. I would I'm assuming this is a RAID setup, so maybe you might have to, if this doesn't work, replace that hard drive so the parity can rebuild. But I guess we can cross that bridge if we get there.
I will pass your words on to someone who is more technically savvy than I am, but we appreciate that.
Please have it help. Thanks for the support. I'll get it knocked out now.
Station for Block Bravo call.
Go on, Chief.
Our key changes are the vehicle continuing to trend further starboard. So differences from last time, the light is 1/4 vehicle forward from the circle, 1/8 vehicle with starboard from the circle. The circle itself is 1/2 vehicle with starboard from the center of the corridor and 1/4 vehicle length aft.
Copy all. Good report.
Once again, several conversations ongoing aboard the station. Johnny Kim of NASA talking to payload controllers at the Payload Operations Control Center at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. And Zena Cardman in the cupola of the International Space Station, along with JAXA astronaut Kimiya Yui, monitoring the slow but steady approach of HTV-X up the radial vector from a point directly below the station. Currently 100 meters separating HTV-X from its grapple point. Everything continuing to look good, no concerns. The visiting vehicle officer here in Mission Control and the HTV-X flight director at their control room in Tsukuba, Japan, reporting that all of HTV-X's systems are in excellent shape as it continues its very slow but deliberate approach to its final arrival point about 10 meters away from the complex. We are in between satellite coverage on our tracking and data relay satellite system. We'll get our downlink television capability from the station's external cameras back here shortly. Just to recap, HTV-X launched from the Tanegashima Space Center in southern Japan atop an H-3 rocket by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency on Saturday night U.S. time, Sunday morning Japan time. The 3.5-day rendezvous for HTV-X deliberately plotted out to test all of its brand new systems on this new cargo freighter prior to its arrival in close proximity to the station, which occurred very early this morning. Since then, a series of near-field demonstration tests of HTV-X's systems have been conducted, with all of those systems passing muster. HTV-X currently about 80 meters away now from the station, continuing to move to the next hold point at the 30-meter mark.
Houston Station for Block Bravo.
Granted.
Coming up on 60 meters. Using monitor 3, the light is within the corridor. Vehicle size matches the outline. The light is now just barely forward of the circle and centered port starboard relative to the circle. The circle is less than 1/4 vehicle width starboard and less than 1/8 vehicle length aft from the center of the corridor, all converging on the center of the corridor.
Copy. Good report. Thanks.
Zena Cardman reporting the relative position that she is seeing HTV-X in as it moves up the corridor for its grapple point. All of that data appears to be in good shape. Some 56 meters now separating HTV-X from the station. HTV-X and the International Space Station are currently traveling 260 miles just west of HTV-X's launch site at the Tanegashima Space Center.
And Johnny, we copy on 2. Apologies, I lost KU there. We copy that amber light. We're checking on it, but we'll let you know if we need anything else.
This is Mission Control Houston. HTV-X is approaching the 30-meter hold point. Everything continuing to look good on the vehicle as it methodically makes its way from a point directly below the station to a capture point at about the 10-meter mark. There will be a hold point first at 30 meters to assess the HTV-X's systems before it resumes its approach one final time to that capture point for a final assessment before Kimiya Yui uses the station's robotic arm to reach out and grapple the Japanese cargo ship that launched 3.5 days ago from the Tanegashima Space Center in southern Japan.
Station, no changes to our previous block level call.
Copy that, Zena, and be advised. So we did recover the LiDAR too, but it faulted again. So we're going to leave. We're going to be in this config for capture.
Copy. Understand. We'll be in this config for capture. No problem.
And that call from Aki Hoshide here in Mission Control to Zena Cardman, indicating that one of the two redundant LiDAR navigation sensor systems has been providing some erratic data to the onboard computers. So that has been evaluated here in Mission Control, as well as in the HTV flight control room in Tsukuba, Japan. It is of no concern. We're pressing ahead with the approach of HTV-X for its grapple by Yui using the Canadarm2 robotic arm. And we now have confirmation that we have reached the 30-meter hold point.
Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. Confirm a 30-meter hold. Then set up and brief for capture per step 6 and 1.102.
The crew will receive a final briefing now from Mission Control here in Houston.
We can confirm 30-meter hold. Lights on the HTV-X command panel match expected, and we will set up for capture per step 6 of 1.102.
Good words.
This will be about a 15-minute hold. The crew on board will be receiving a final briefing on procedures as HTV-X traverses the final few meters for its capture. The HTV flight director in Tsukuba, Japan, reporting that they're happy with all of the vehicle systems. Flight director Fiona Antkowiak is about to take a final poll of her flight controllers here for resumption within 30 meters. And the crew will be receiving a short briefing on final procedures prior to the HTV closing the gap for its capture robotically by Kimiya Yui using the station's robotic arm. And a good view of the HTV-X, just 30 meters away from the International Space Station, as the two fly in formation over the northeast Pacific, moving from northwest to southeast. This pass will take the two vehicles directly over Baja California a short time from now. HTV-X carrying about 4.5 tons of supplies and experiments for the Expedition 73 crew aboard the International Space Station. HTV-X holding steady, minutes away from reaching its final destination. And an even closer view of the new cargo vehicle. The HTV-X made of two major components, a pressurized module and a service module. The service module contains the propulsion and guidance, navigation, control, communications, and power systems. 26 feet long, 14.5 feet wide, about to join the resupply chain at the International Space Station. And framed against the limb of the Earth, a good view of the HTV-X in close proximity to the International Space Station. HTV-X.
Station on 2 for HTV-X. Per 1.110, step 3.2. Crew is ready for HTV-X approach to capture point.
Copy all. Stand by. Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. HTV-X is ready to proceed to the capture point. Expect approach to resume shortly.
We're handing over between satellites.
Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. HTV-X is ready to proceed to the capture point. Expect approach to resume shortly.
Station copies, ready to proceed to capture point, expecting approach to resume shortly.
So with that, Aki Hoshide informing Zena Cardman that the vehicle is ready to resume the final leg of its 3.5-day journey to its capture point, just about 10 meters away from the International Space Station. And the approach command has now been sent. HTV-X and space station flying just off the west coast of the United States.
Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. HTV-X has begun approach from 30 meters. Monitor per step 7 in 1.102.
Station copies, resuming the approach and monitoring per step 7 of 1.102.
The actual capture phase involves Kimiya Yui operating the station's robotic arm from the cupola, backed up by NASA's Zena Cardman. The end effector will move over the grapple pin. It will actually grapple HTV-X, but the snares then will have to close, the carriage retracted, and that will mark the official capture time that we'll provide for you as soon as we have that data. HTV-X closing in at a very glacial pace, some 28 meters away. "27 meters away.
Station on 2 for Block Bravo. Lights have converged on the center of the circle, and circle has converged on the center of the corridor."
Copy. Good report. Thanks.
This view now from the end effector camera on the station's Canadarm2 robotic arm. 25 meters separating HTV-X from the arm. 23 meters now separating HTV-X from the International Space Station. Just passing south of Baja, California, moving from northwest to southeast. This is Mission Control Houston. Everything continuing to go very well as HTV-X is about to close to within 20 meters of the International Space Station. You can see the Canadarm2 extended, ready to move in under the command of Kimiya operating from a workstation in the cupola, backed up by NASA's Xena Cardman. That arm will be set in motion once HTV-X arrives at about the 10-meter mark. HTV-X continues its methodical approach towards the end effector of the station's robotic arm. Now just 17 meters separating HTV-X from the capture point. once HTV-X has been grappled, Kimiya Yui and Zena Cardman will hand over the robotic chores to the robotics officer here in Mission Control in Houston, who will spend the next several hours maneuvering HTV-X toward the Earth-facing port of the Harmony module for its installation into the common berthing mechanism on that nadir side of Harmony, where HTV-X will then be bolted into place. The crew will not be opening the hatch to HTV-X until tomorrow morning to begin the process of unloading the start of the cargo operations, some 4.5 tons of supplies and experiments arriving at the International Space Station. HTV-X and the station flying from northwest to southeast over the Pacific Ocean, just off the coast of South America. Now just 14 meters separating the two vehicles. We're about 5 minutes away from arriving at the capture point. One final check of HTV-X's systems before the approval is given for Kimiya Yui to begin extending the Canadarm2 toward the grapple fixture. "13 meters now separating HTV-X and the station. Everything looking very good. HTV-X's systems rock solid. HTV-X and the International Space Station flying just off the coast of Peru. and a good view from the end effector camera on the Canadarm2 as you're looking right down the barrel of the grapple fixture that the Canadarm2 will affix itself to here a short time from now. The journey of HTV-X that began 3.5 days ago with its launch atop JAXA's H3 rocket from the Tanegashima Space Center in southern Japan about to conclude. Now just 12 meters separating HTV-X from the grapple fixture on the International Space Station's Canadarm2.
Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. Confirm capture point hold for step 8 in 1.102.
Houston Station for step 8 of 1.102. We can confirm CP hold.
Houston copies.
This is Mission Control Houston. Aki Hoshide confirming with Zena Cardman that HTV-X has reached one final hold point at the 10-meter mark. Now polling the flight controllers for a go, no-go to resume the operations that will involve Kimiya Yui extending the Canadarm2 from this 10-meter mark to the grapple fixture on HTV-X to complete this rendezvous. HTV-X is about to be placed into what is called free drift, inhibiting any further thruster firings so as not to perturbate the operation of the Canadarm2 robotic arm as it moves in to grapple the vehicle.
Station Houston 2 for HTV-X. PVGF SEP is enabled. Prepare for capture per step 9 and 1.102.
We see PVGF SEP is enabled, and we are working step 9 of 1.102.
Houston copies.
Houston Station, per step 9, we can confirm command panel LED configuration is good and our capture preparations are confirmed. We are ready for HTV-X capture with a preference to wait until the other side of this S-band handover.
Copy. And Houston copies, stand by for capture.
The S-band handover referred to by Zena Cardman is a brief gap in communications voice-wise. We do have solid downlink television capability. So we're just a couple of minutes away from Kimiya Yui beginning the work to extend the Canadarm2 robotic arm for its capture of the Japanese cargo ship that is completing its maiden voyage to the International Space Station. HTV-X and the station currently flying over Argentina from northwest to southeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator, about to emerge off the east coast of South America over the South Atlantic.
And Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X Xena. So that big gap in Optimus, we think that's conservative. It's going to be more like a 4-minute continuation and then a 20-second handover after that.
Okay, copy. That is great information. We can, with your go, start working step 4 of 1.110.
Okay, copy that. Stand by. We're doing the final pull on the ground.
We copy all.
Station Houston on 2 for HTV-X. You are go for HTV-X capture sequence. Perform step 4 in robotics procedure 1.110. Begin monitoring the backaway cue card.
Station copies. We are go for the capture sequence. We will start with step 4 of
And we're in that brief handover in S-band communications. But the approval has been given for Kimiya Yui to begin the work with the Canadarm2 robotic arm to extend it slowly and methodically toward the grapple fixture on the vehicle. And the International Space Station now in free drift. Thrusters disabled. Standing by for arm motion.
Houston Station on 2 for your awareness. We are doing translational alignment and then beginning our approach.
Copy, we're watching.
And the robotics officer reports the arm is now in motion. Four and a half meters. Good view from the end effector camera. Both vehicles are in free drift. Two and a half meters. One meter away, standing by for capture. We have initial capture. This is soft capture. Waiting for snares to close and carriage retract. Things continuing to look good. And we have capture confirmed. Capture confirmed at 10:58 a.m. Central Time, 11:58 a.m. Eastern Time. We have a good handshake between the Canadarm2 and HTV-X. Its arrival at the International Space Station now complete. Capture again confirmed at 10:58 a.m. Central Time, 11:58 a.m. Eastern Time, as HTV-X and the International Space Station flew 260 miles over the South Atlantic.
Houston Station on Space Ground 2, HTV capture complete. Go for HTV-X post-capture reconfiguration action. And I just want to say congratulations to all teams and people involved in this mission. Also, thank you very much for your hard work and support for the first HTV-X mission. This is a historic event in the Japanese space program. Spacecraft is so beautiful and shining, as if it is representing our future, bright future. Thank you again for delivering these important supplies and experiments. I can't wait to open this golden treasure box. 日本の皆さん、HTV-X 君が無事に ISS に着きました。このミッションを通じて、日本が高い技術力で国際的な宇宙開発に貢献していることを知っていただいて、日本とですね、その国である皆さんにと誇りを持っていただけたら嬉しいです。明るい希望と未来に通じるこの活動を引き続き応援してください。今日は私にこの大役を任せていただきありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
Copy capture complete and great words, Kimiya. Congratulations to you guys and congratulations to the entire team, to all of those around the world who has contributed towards this successful mission. And special congrats to our friends in Japan who has worked so hard for years in development and training to make this dream come true. HTV-X is the 11th vehicle to visit the ISS. Like its predecessor, HTV, and its legacy, HTV-X will be a key element towards our future in space together, in low Earth orbit and for lunar exploration. Once again, congratulations. 日本の皆さん、HTV-X 初号機の ISS 到着おめでとうございます。先代の HTV コウノトリに新しい技術を加えた HTV-X は ISS をはじめとする地球低軌道、そして月までも含めて人類のさらなる可能性を切り開く大きな鍵になります。引き続き一丸となって新しい未来を切り開いていきましょう。ゆうさん、キャプチャーおめでとうございます。Good job.
Thank you. ありがとうございます。Thank you for your heartwarming warm words. Thank you.
And so that exchange of words between two astronauts representing the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, Kimiya Yui, on board the station, part of Expedition 73, relaying his congratulations to the whole team for a flawless 3.5-day journey of HTV-X from its launch pad at the Tanegashima Space Center to its capture just a few minutes ago. Yui operating the Canadarm2 robotic arm to reach out and grapple HTV-X. He will hand over those robotic chores to the robotics officer here in Mission Control, who will maneuver HTV-X to the Earth-facing common berthing mechanism on the Harmony module for its installation and bolting into place later today. Those words acknowledged by veteran astronaut Aki Hoshide here in Mission Control, who himself used the Canadarm2 back in 2012 as part of Expedition 32 to capture the one of the original HTV vehicles, the HTV-3. So the work is now complete, with the exception of the maneuvering of the vehicle to its installation and bolting into place later today. The bottom line, a flawless rendezvous. Everything went by the book. All of HTV-X's systems performed normally for its capture at 10:58 a.m. Central Time, 11:58 a.m. Eastern Time, as HTV-X and the space station flew 260 miles over the South Atlantic. So with that, we will wrap up our coverage for today. Thank you for joining us this morning, and have a good day the rest of this day and in the days to come. This is Mission Control Houston.